of his hands in the big blind, I have to just give up. Like, way too much of that hits this board in some way. Flush draws, 8x, 9x, 4x. It's only folding 50% seed bets, so he's not really giving up, just like throwing money at me. But the board like naturally hits me really well. So like, if this was like me versus a complete unknown, I would attack it. Like just assuming that my range is wider than his, so I should just go crazy. Because I'm on the button, he's in the big blind. Like that's just the natural order of things, you know. But because he's like a super fish, he might actually just have a wider range than me on the button versus my. Or when he's in the big blind and I'm on the button, like he might really just be looser than me. I don't know. I think it's a bet. I think it's a go crazy. But I check. I have ace high. I guess I didn't want to turn into a bluff. And I don't really want to do turns and stuff, but I think I make a mistake again by not betting. It's just that he's never really folding. I'm going to go to the next hand. I'm going to try to stick with flop and get to the turn when, in a turn video. Alright, so here we go. This is a board that really naturally leans toward semi-bluffs. Like all his king-queen, all his flush draws, queen 9 if he has it. Like there's a ton of hands here that, he should be check raising with. He can't really check call with much. And he should be check raising a pretty wide value range as well. Like I wouldn't feel that bad check raising king jack suited here or something like that, especially with backdoor clubs or something. Like I'd expect my opponent to kind of to call pretty damn wide range, so a lot of flush draws and stuff. So, I think he's going to be check raising a decently wide range. But he's kind of nitty. If you look at his stats, he's an 18-6. He's like never 3-bet before in his life, over 36 hands. So I don't know that he's going to semi-bluff. And this is basically like two classes of players. Either you're an online player or you're a live player. And like I just noticed that like live players just do not understand how semi-bluffing is good and how it makes you play better and your opponent play worse, right? And internet players just generally do. They might not understand why, but they just understand that raising is a good thing. Even the bad ones. So against the first class of players, where they have no idea why semi-bluffing is good. Well, here's why. Against you, I'm gonna bet, and I'm gonna value bet profitably. If you're only raising with 2 pair plus here, and then like basically every hand that beats me, like king jack plus, basically, if that's your raising range, and then you're check calling all your many draws, then every time I bet and you call, I'm super happy. I'm comfortable. I'm gonna win this hand. Every time you don't hit a draw. So like, yeah, you still got like 45% equity, but if the turn's a dud, I'm gonna I have second pair bad kicker, and I'm about to value bet you for like 80% pot, and I'm about to do it comfortably. And you don't, clearly you're not going to semi-bluff me on the turn. So like, that's great. I'm making a ton of money, But if you're like, what am I supposed to do against someone who's going to check raise all those like better jack X hands and all those draws? Like I can't bet call. I can't because you just like crushing me with that range. I can't bet shove because again I'm just crushed by your stack off range. Bet folding seems stupid because I have the best hand like half the time, maybe even more often than half the time. But the issue is like if you plug that into Poker Stove, I'm still crushed because when I have you beat by like 10%, 15% equity, right? Like you have 40 to 45% equity on this board when I have you beat. But when you have me beat, you've got like 80% equity. So you don't have to have me beat very often for me to continuing to be bad. So for that reason, if you're going to semi-bluff, I should be checking and inducing bluffs from a much wider range that I can play against, right? And then that's, pot control versus thin value. Like if your opponent doesn't know how to semi-bluff, then go ahead, value bet, emerged range, and just go crazy, have fun, make a bunch of money. Bet, and always bet fold, because he's only raising better hands. Poker is as simple as that sometimes, Like, if people don't know how to play poker, then there you go. So, yeah, thankfully I check. And then now, obviously, I'm value betting. I'm just going to go to the next hand. I think I played this one correctly, actually. I value bet both streets. Alright, ace-jack. Late position. I just get called by the small blind. Just a quick note, don't be the guy that's only calling here with pocket pairs, small to mid pocket pairs. The issue is that it's like, I'm never going to pay you off. I'm about to write an article though, like there's a really big issue with people like not understanding how to play pocket pairs, including me. Like, I don't want to say this from like I'm so great thing. Like, I got asked very often, and I ask people very often, like, I hear this question thrown around a lot, like, what do you do with small to mid pocket pairs in the blinds facing the late position steal? Because whenever, like, I flop a set, I'm never getting paid off because you have nothing. Whenever I, like, miss a set, you're just going to bet, and, like, I can't really put up much of a fight with, a pair of threes. I just don't know, like, we have no equity when we're in a way behind situation, so we don't really want to bluff, but you're able to apply a bunch of pressure because our range is so weak because we're only flatting with pocket pairs, blah, 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 right? That's a tough spot, and I don't know the answer. I'm doing research right now, and hopefully you guys find that, helpful. My guess is, like, that it has, like, that question pretty much just comes up whenever the issue is that your hand is face up, like, if you're check raising this flop, like, I don't expect you to be flatting with suited connectors in the small blind against my late position open, right? So when you check raise, what do you have other than sets? Yeah, like, think of a hand, I don't know. So that's the issue, is that when you check raise the flop, your hand is face up. When you don't check raise the flop, I don't know, your hand is face up. So I think the issue is, like, begins with your pre-flop play and imbalance there in your flatting range, and then imbalance basically caused by the fact that we can't flat suited connectors profitably. So maybe the answer lies in always keeping suited connectors in pocket pairs with one another, and then there are some extenuating circumstances as well based on four betting tendencies. Like, you can 5-bet sixes and that be the correct play, and if that's the correct play, then go for it. But so I'm going to pause that conversation. Hopefully, that it's an article that I'm coming out with. I don't plan on doing a video, but it's going to be put up on my website. Hopefully, you guys find that to be an interesting and informative read. Hopefully, I don't just totally suck, because, like, I'm having a lot of time, a really difficult time trying to find what people honestly think about this spot, because, like, no one. Like, there's just not that much research done about it. Like, everyone's asked the question, and it always just ends in, like, a listing of pros and cons, is what, like, my research is showing me. Like, I spent a couple hours last night just trying to find articles on this that I could quote, and I just didn't find anything. I think I have, like, maybe 3,500 words to look through out of, the entire web space. And most of them are actually from the UK, which is, really surprised me. Like, 2 plus 2 does not chime in on this that much. I'm trying to find something, but it's tough. But, that being said, this isn't one of those guys. He's playing 31. He's a 31-9, so we have a complete fish. He's 3-betting 8%, which is likely just like the top 8% of hands. He's probably 3-betting ace-jack plus, 10s plus, and then calling with a bunch of weak hands. So the issue is, like, I expect him to have something on this board way too often for me to, profitably bluff at it. Like, coordinated boards are just terrible when your opponent's a fish, because he's always going to have something. He's going to have a 7 here is a gut shot, a 5 is a gut shot, 9-10 is a gut shot, 7-8 is, or 7-9, any 8, any 6, those are all calling. All his pocket pairs are calling. Maybe he spasses with 2 random overs. Like, that's a lot of hands, even when weighed against 31% VPEP. So, I just don't like it. I think giving up on this board is just fine. I think this smacks his range a little bit more than us. So he checks, and we check. I didn't think I'd check. Alright, so I'm just going to go to the next hand. That's the flop. We're just going to continue in the hand history until we get to turn and river, right? He flopped a set. That's great. Oh, that was actually the last hand. Well, I hope you guys found this informative, helpful, blah, blah, blah. And that, my voice isn't like nails on a chalkboard to you. Have a great one, guys. Hopefully I can come out with a few more videos today, or within the next few days, and hopefully I can finish that article real soon. So, thanks for watching.